This streams live and may discuss topics including mental health, addiction, depression, its treatment and other similar subjects that can be triggering or worrying to some people. If you may be negatively affected by this or you're at all uncomfortable with the subjects, please switch away now. You can always come back to watch it at another time. This show is also not suitable for children. As always, parental guidance should be applied.
Inside the temple, yeah. Mr. Wiggler, I acoustic, yo. Hey, step inside, I give thanks and the highest praise. Ground myself to Mama Earth, connect out the space.
Well, hello everybody. We're trying again today. We're going to check on the broadband capabilities of our wonderful main man Oliver Gould in just 1 second, but it seems to be okay. Sorry if you missed us yesterday basically, you would have heard me going on a little bit about dentists, stuff like that. I'm hoping that it's going to be a little bit better today because he'll be among us. Hello to everyone in the chat already. It's always slightly strange coming in on a different day to normal. Hey Pierre the Acid Clown, hello to you. Hey Grey One FPV, you were here yesterday, which is fantastic. I am Maniac Ray Malone, hello. Driving but locked in, I love it. Driving around in where are you driving? In Montreal, I think is where Ray Malone's from. Ollie's there. Also, his internet must be working. And Dean, Electronic Sounds Audio, fantastic. Thank you. Good to see you. So we were going to talk a little bit about phobias yesterday, based on the fact that Ollie, hey Matt Evans, thank you for joining. I had a phobia of needles, which for an ex-heroin addict is kind of probably a good thing, to be honest. Otherwise it would have got slightly worse. However, kind of weird considering all the other things he's put his body through so far in his life. But he had to go and have a blood test or something involving taking blood from his arm, and it was properly scary. But he's had it, apparently. I couldn't quite work out from the post. He said something in the post about they didn't get any blood, but I did it, or something like that. I'm kind of assuming he's got it out of the way and everything is good and functioning properly. So anyway, let's find out. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to the lovely Oliver Gould. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. Yeah, it's been an eventful day, to be fair, but a very successful one.
Good.
Yeah. Go on.
I was just going to say, what happened? Because I mean, you were properly dreading this blood test, like you wouldn't do it. I mean, I was surprised when you actually did it. Yeah, please.
So, when I was about 15 or so, I went to have a dentist appointment, and they put about 14 injections in my mouth to try and numb it, and the numbing didn't work. And they were using that little tool to check your mouth, but it was going in totally unnumb. And as a 14-year-old led there, just injection, and finally he left it for long enough, and he tried to pull it out, and it cracked a tooth.
Oh.
And from that moment onwards, I've had this incredible fear of injections, like crazy fear. And it's not even just mentally; it's it's body. I physically react to injections, basically, and it's a real funny one because I was addicted to heroin. I only ever smoked it, and when the heroin was really weak, what people would tend to do is they'd inject it to get higher quicker, or it lasts longer, or it'd be more efficient. Instead of smoking it, you obviously don't.
I'm nodding, but yeah, that's kind of what I'd assumed. It was a bigger deal.
So obviously the fear was big enough to stop me injecting the thing I love the most for a long time. So I think that I think that would highlight the severity of the fear I had for that injection, having an injection. And it's really odd because I have had some, and it's taken me Valium to be able to do it, and there's been a couple of occasions where I've had to go and get an injection. I haven't been able to do it. I got anaphylactic shock about 3 years ago. My lips were swelling up. And it's life and death when you go into anaphylactic shock and it's revolving your mouth because your neck starts to swell up and you suffocate. And I went to the hospital and I couldn't have an injection. It was that severe that I was like, I don't care. I'll just take the risk and take the pills. And if it doesn't happen in time, it doesn't happen in time. But that
What?
You know what I mean? When I went into rehab, they said, we've got to blood test you before you go in, just to check if you're healthy and if they put you through a severe withdrawal that your body can take it. And I was like, I can't take it. Sorry, I can't do it. And they let me in anyway. But when the severity of the panic attack I get, or I used to get when I would go for an injection, would be crazy. It would be at the point where I was out of my head. It was that severe of a panic attack that everything clouded over, and I couldn't do it. But today, I went and had one.
That's fantastic.
I know.
I mean,
yeah.
that really is fantastic. It just, oh my word! And you had it. I couldn't quite work out from your post.
As with everything that I do, there's a fucking stupid story that's involved in it.
Right.
But recently it's become quite a big thing because I'm a teeth grinder anyway, and I've always ground my teeth. And with the dentist cracking that tooth, and me just being a teeth grinder, taking drugs and cocaine and heroin when you sleep, you grind your teeth more. Cocaine, obviously, or crack cocaine when you smoke it, that doesn't do much good to your teeth. That's generally why you see a lot of junkies that don't have teeth, from fighting or not brushing them, and the damage that the cutting agents they put in the crack when you smoke it, and then grinding your teeth as well. So I've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4 teeth at the moment in my mouth that have cracked and just dissolved so much they're actually underneath my gums. So when I grind, it pushes the ones behind, and then they get abscesses.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I've basically been in sort of fairly regular, heavy sort of mouth pain for the last sort of 2 or 3 years, and it got to the point the last time where it was that painful. I was like, I've just got to go to the dentist. And I tried, and even being in that amount of pain and having to ruin my body with antibiotics didn't make me get the injection. And it's been so since then. It's been about 3 months, and the pain started to come back there. And I've been salt bathing it and sort of pulling the infection out a little bit to help. But I've just been gearing myself up to for an injection. And I had a health check due today because I'm 40. They like to keep an eye on you, don't they? Especially somebody with my past. And so I went and. Yeah, I actually managed to have a needle in my body.
Brilliant.
Mad.
Brilliant. Is that the back of the hand that I saw? Or is that something else?
I got it there.
Wow.
And I still haven't been able to take it off, by the way. I'm still
no, I know.
supposed to go off straight away, but
I have to do that.
take it off. It's just gonna have to
Luke will do it for you. She loves that stuff because I'm nowhere near your like that, but I don't like the blood bit. I can't watch my blood.
The blood's fine. I don't care about blood. I would prefer them to literally cut my arm and let it drip out than have the injection.
Wow.
That's the pain's not an issue, and I think I built up this massive thing because if I cannot no chance. I haven't got there yet. But I was like, is there anywhere else you can take it? And they said, yeah. I said, can you do it there? Can you do it on the leg? They're like, yeah, we'll do it there. But it's very painful. I didn't give a fuck about the pain.
Yeah.
But
and did you watch what was going on?
No, I didn't watch.
That's all right. That's good.
I picked up the needle and I looked at the needle and I knew it was going to happen. But I think there's been the needle fear has been the one thing that protected me from injecting heroin. When you inject heroin, it's a whole nother beast. It's so much more addictive. The withdrawals are so much more severe, and it's a whole nother thing. There's also something called people get addicted to actually using the needles, so having to find the veins, and
it's that whole process. Yeah,
there becomes a needle fixation You know, like I got a bit. You know, it took me a while to walk around shops and be able to walk past the tinfoil without getting some sort of like, you know, this is going to be. I'm going to be taking this soon. So then there becomes a whole nother thing, and it's, you know, once you inject, you know, you are making life a hell of a lot harder. And I think in the back of my mind, I always knew, well, I've got a needle fear, and that's where people inject. So I built up this massive sort of protective area that if I'm that scared, I won't inject.
Yeah.
And after coming out of rehab, I knew I had this needle fear, and I knew I needed to get over it. And I had to have a flu jab, and I managed to have the flu jab. But then the moment I had the flu jab, I passed out. I threw up over myself and passed out, and woke up with like a nurse holding my legs up. And you know, that was just there. So you know, there were many other facets to this.
I'm sorry to laugh. It was just
No, it's funny. It's hilarious.
I was just thinking of waking up going, oh,
It's
no,
hilarious.
I'll just pass.
No, the amount of experiences I've had with nurses saying, you know, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I'm aware of this. I'm sorry. I can't get past it. But so I built up this massive sort of protection over this. And when I came out of rehab, it was like, if I kick this fear, then if I do ever relapse or I do ever go back to it, then I'll be content with injecting there. That's it.
Yes.
Life's over.
Yeah.
You know, so there was a massive sort of self-preservation.
Yeah,
then
completely.
Sort of, you know, if you've got a phobia, don't give it a crutch. And I gave it a massive crutch. And so today Melissa came with me, and I went in there thinking, I'm going to do this. And I'm actually really happy that I couldn't do the show last night, because I'm getting to speak about this now.
Yeah.
You know, just more as a sort of show off is, look, I did it. I can't believe I did it, because, you know, it's like, it's a really massive day for me. And
it's fabulous. It's so fabulous, because I couldn't believe how much of a big deal it was, but it's clearly just incredibly such a great thing. Can I just say hello to Jen S? Thanks ever so much for joining us.
Hello, Jen.
Lovely to see you. I think she's bought a mixer from you, which is quite exciting as well. Going to get into decks and stuff, so that's all good.
Oh yeah, no, she's bought the whole setup basically. I'm custom building an entire setup that's white with purple LEDs. Then it turns out I had the mixer that she loved when she was younger, so
right.
I refurbished that one, so she's now got a perfectly serviced Vestax mix tick. And then she was saying, "Oh, stylists, what shall I get? What shall I get?" And then she's like, "Oh, I love the Shure N447s," and I was like, "Well, I got a set of those, yeah." Funnily enough, a friend brought me some over to get rid of them for him. And,
fantastic.
And then I said, well, I got these, and I think he's willing to do quite a good deal. So we've managed to pull together, like, you know, I'm so jealous of this setup. It's crazy.
Brilliant. I'm really looking forward to hearing it. And a neat segue between the needles as well, which is nice.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
Exactly.
I am maniac saying not nice. This earlier in the stream, my 8-year-old had the needle numbing for the dentist too. I'll tell you what, Luna May, my daughter, had just for blood testing. They gave her a little patch, or a little bit of cream. Now that's not going to help you, because it's not really the pain thing, but the actual prick of the pain, it kind of numbs. It's the same as the stuff they rub on your.
Well, they didn't. The nurse didn't have that for me. I was like, "Have you got any numbing stuff?" She went, "No, nothing." I was like, "Fuck."
They send out a little tube and everything. It's great.
Yeah, no, nothing. It was in dry, but. You know, it goes back to when the measles rubella jab was going. Was it measles rubella? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think so.
We had it when we were like, if you're 40, you had it when you were like 12 or something.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's
Yeah,
exactly.
well, I spent an hour fighting off dinner ladies in school. Honestly, I probably made this into a bigger thing, but you know, dinner ladies were a lot more handy back when we were in school.
Yeah.
And, you know, they were to the point of pinning me down. And I was, like, running around the thing. And they were like, "You've got to have this done. Everybody else to get something." And I was like, "I'm not going to," you know, turn into a whole... It's been meant, you know...
Oh, congratulations, though. What a thing. Brain Sniff saying, well, lots of love, basically, saying, amazing getting through today. You start sweating and feeling a bit faint. And your teeth also look really good, which I would agree with. You wouldn't have thought they're all crunching down.
So I tell you what it is. So I tell you why, right? Because... if you've got gaps at the back,
zoom in. Yeah,
they're great. If you've got gaps at the back,
oh yeah, Yeah, it's all at the front.
Oh God! So if you've got gaps at the back, then they spread out. So teeth that are overcrowded are crooked and they go forward and back.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because mine are all fucked at the back. There's space and they've all spread out lovely.
Fantastic.
My mate was like, oh, where'd you get your teeth done? I was like, I just smoked loads of heroin in my 20s, mate. I got nothing at the back, but honestly,
you do see like those horrendous crack pictures, you know, the kind of before and after, where the teeth is just such a giveaway. I mean, the calluses and the down expressions don't help either. But wow, hey Rob Fatdas, thank you very much for joining. And also, Jen says it's going to be amazingly good fun, even if she is bankrupt now. I hope you did do a good deal.
Oh yeah.
HK, hello to you. Thanks for joining as well. Actually, there's normal numbers, which is really good. We thought that because it was going to be a different day and there wasn't, there's quite a lot of stuff going on, might be quite quiet, but this is fantastic. With lithium for bipolar, you get a blood test frequently and then eventually every few months. Actually, that's interesting. Yeah, did you not have to go through that stuff for your bipolar? I mean, I know you were diagnosed as bipolar. Did they put you on anything like that involved rigorous blood tests?
I was already on so many antidepressants that it was just, I'd go in there and they'd be like, yeah, all right, mate, you're still alive. Anyway. Carry on taking the methadone and all that. Yeah, will do, cheers. So, you know what I mean? In whatever state I'd turn up. But it's really interesting because, you know, we talk about traumas quite a lot, and that trauma from a 15-year-old, you know, was so fucking heavy. So heavy that it lasted until I was 40 to start, you know, being able to deal with it. But, you know, apparently, so I've looked into this since, and I'm of a body type that's quite similar to athletes. So I metabolize food really well. My if I work out, then I get a result from working out quite quick.
Yeah.
And it turns out that people with my body type actually metabolize the numbing agent really fast, so it doesn't work much for us. And that's interesting. So a lot of athletes that are very active, then it doesn't work.
Yes.
As well. So when I was a kid, when my metabolism was the fastest, they had no chance. So it was never going to work. So one of the dentist's fault, he was like, what's going on here? And I was you know, like fucking, you know, burning like 3,000 calories a day without even thinking about it. But yeah.
Wow. Hello, D-Matt. Thanks ever so much for joining. Good to see you from over on the Sunday side. Ricardo's still laughing at your ordeal. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to avoid.
It gets worse.
It gets worse. No. Teeth. Really?
I haven't even told you about the actual fucking...
Oh yeah, sorry, that's where we came in. So I said I wasn't quite sure if it had actually happened or not. I saw you basically said something like they couldn't get any blood or something like that, and it was like, what is actually going on?
Right, so so I got in there, we went for the health check, and obviously I admitted to having this issue with the injection, and Melissa came in with me as well to help me out, and we sat there going through the questions, and it was like, okay, so, you know, we're going to try this. I want to try this. I really want to try this. But, you know, I am very skittish. And the nurse said, you know, I don't want to be put at risk if you flail around or anything like this. And I went, no. I'll, you know, if it gets too much, then I'll say it's no problem at all. And we were just sat there, and I was sort of slowly working through, you know, how I was going to deal with this, how I was going to calm myself down, and sort of focusing, trying to be mindful of my state, and, you know, using some of the stuff from therapy to stop panic attacks and stop anxiety, and sort of rationalizing what was going to be happening, and sort of then I was thinking to myself, you know, I've got the show tonight, so imagine if I go on the show and I haven't at least tried this.
Yeah,
do you know what
absolutely.
I mean? So, you know, it's I gave myself a goal, and I kind of made it easy to go there by going, if I don't do it, it's fine, but I've gone there.
Yeah. Do
you know what I mean? If
you
I fail,
little bit of exactly. You've got to do your best. That's the best way.
If I fail and, you know, I don't manage to do it, then I've just got to try again. If I fail, I get to talk about failing here, and I think it'd be interesting, and I can explore that, and, you know, maybe this will help me work through. But if I manage to do it, then I get to come on here and sort of really talk to people about how I went through this phobia and how I kind of stopped the anxiety and how I dealt with it. And the key steps, I think, were I walked into that meeting without the meeting. I walked into the appointment with. It doesn't matter what happens at the end of this. I'm here, and I'm going to try, and I'm going to try and take any opportunity I can to make this work. But if I don't, it doesn't matter because I'll be able to get another one.
Fantastic.
So I just kind of opened it up. There was no pressure. There was no stress. I felt the pressure, and I kept feeling sort of the anxiety and the panic attacks coming on. But then Melissa was there with me. The nurse was being really kind. I said, "How much time have I got?" She went, "Well, we've got 20 minutes." So it was like, okay. So I've got a double appointment because it's a health. I've got a double appointment because it was a health check. And then the needles came out, and I touched the needle, and I was really starting to go. We discussed where. I said, "Look, this is a no go." There was like no chance of doing that, but anywhere else is fine. Then we said the back of the hand. It's the most painful. And I was like, look, I don't care about the pain. Do you know what I mean? I just want to try this. And then I was sat there, and the pillow came out. She was like, "Hold the pillow." Now remember my safety. If you flail about, I could get an injection in me. And then that really rang true that I needed to be really responsible. And it kind of took me out of this panicky space again because I was thinking about somebody else, which I normally rely on to get through situations like that.
Yeah, totally.
So the needle came out, and I looked away, and Melissa was like, do you want to hold my hand? I went, the last time I held my brother's hand, I nearly broke it, so it's probably not advisable. So I was squeezing the pillow, and then the nurse was like, you need to loosen up. And I was like, okay. So I loosened up, I relaxed, I loosened up. And then I felt the needle go in, and it went in my hand, and it was like, whoosh. Do you know what I mean? The word suddenly I was just about to go, like it was like the whole room just went fucking kapow, and like everybody was tiny. They were all crowded around me. This is less of a sort of hallucination and more how my mind felt.
Yeah, totally.
Do you know what I mean? Everything was just there, and the needle was in there, and I was still squeezing because that was kind of the only control I had was squeezing. And the nurse was like saying, "I can't get any blood," and I was like, "Okay," and I was like, "The needle's in, it's not working. I can't believe I'm being done like this. It's just my fucking luck." And so I loosened up, and then she was still. I could feel her moving around, just trying to push it.
Yeah.
I was looking over at Melissa. I was like, "They're not getting any blood." She went, "No, there's no blood coming out." And I went, "How long is it going to take?" He went, I can't find any blood." She was moving it around, and I loosened my hand up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the nurse said, "No, I can't get any blood. And where apparently where I was panicking so much, all the blood was being drawn away from my hands.
Of course, it goes straight to the core to support your heart
exactly,
and your core body, and it's like you don't need your hands anymore. This is under attack.
Yeah. So my body was in that much of a state that she couldn't get any blood out of my hands.
Goodness me.
They didn't get any blood at all. No blood, right? And then at that point, I was like, right, yeah, fuck, it's over, it's done. It's done. Yeah, there's no blood. And I had the injection in for, I think, Melissa, I've got no idea of the time, but Melissa told me it was the normal amount of time that it takes to do a blood. So it was about a minute. It was about a minute that I was going through. And it was the slowest, but the fastest time. Like every second I felt, but it just flew, it was mental. And then the last thing I can remember was it was over, and it was like I did it, but there's no blood, and then whoosh, the fucking panic attack started. I went, I'm gonna be sick. Right. And then that's the last. Well, so then I think I blacked out, and then I came round, and I could see the room going like that, and I was like, why are you pretending to pass out? And to myself, I was passing out, and I could see the ceiling. I was just coming off the chair, and I was like, "Stop pretending to pass out." And I focused on. I thought about this afterwards, but it was like I was trying to stop myself from passing out by accusing myself of pretending.
Yes.
It was like do you know what I mean? I was like, "Stop pretending," and then like fucking, and then. Then it was all black, and then Melissa was holding my head, and then I woke up, and there was a nurse again holding my feet, and I was on the floor, so I totally gone. But I didn't remember this. But apparently, after I said I'm going to throw up, I went abort. Those were the last. Those were the last words I said.
Oh, it's like medic.
Yeah, abort. System failure, abort.
What an amazing description, though, because when you just said like that, everything, it's like that focus thing you see in a
like,
film where they kind of go, exactly. And you're there. I mean, that's incredible. What a thing.
It was
but you did
mental.
it. I mean, the bottom line here is you actually did it, which is brilliant.
But like,
absolutely brilliant.
I think I'm really attuned to my reward centered now, because I got through it by setting up an achievement, and that was talking about it on this show.
Mm-hmm.
And I got through it by, I have to do this. I'm growing up. I'm far enough away from my heroin addiction now to worry about it. So, I'm just putting these little things in practice. And, the actually doing it carried me through it.
Yes.
And going into the appointment without any sort of, it doesn't matter, whatever happens, at least you've tried. There was no pressure. And then it was just the mental blockade that I'd set myself up on for all these years that I was fighting. But I did it. They didn't get any blood, but I did it. And
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm Maniac saying you might be a bit bruised after all that prodding. I mean, you don't really know because it's under the thing. Must be a bit sore, I guess.
I haven't. No, pain's not really a problem with me. It's just. Not when you walk around with teeth like this.
And the feet was what? Trying to get the blood back into up the body again.
Yeah, it's got to go. When you pass out, I think it leaves your head, doesn't it?
Ah, so you're trying to get.
So you're trying to get it back to the head, I think. Yeah, but.
And so you must have fallen on the floor as well.
Yeah, I went off the chair. Yeah, I went off the chair. Melissa caught me. I went off the chair. The nurse said, "Right, we're going to do this on the 3rd of January again." And you're sitting on the bed. You're sitting on the bed. You're not sitting on the chair this time.
Yeah. I'm a bit surprised they had you because I always say I can't look. I'm not good with needles. Nowhere near your level of kind of panic attacks. But yeah, I really would rather. I feel faint after this. So I need to sit down or have a break. And they normally say, "Would you want to lie down?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is great." So I lie down, put my head the other way, done, and the local hospital here, instead of going to the nurse, they just do it all day. These nurses are amazing, and it's almost like done, next. And for the first time, I don't dread it. But
I did the whole confidence thing, didn't I? I put my confidence face on. I went in there really. I told her my fears. I told her what happened.
Yeah.
I put my confidence face on. Do you know what I mean? And I was sat there.
And conquered. That's just brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
But she kind of didn't. I don't think she understood the severity of the situation because I was being so cool. I was hiding it all, obviously. But afterwards, I was sat on the floor and they gave me some water and shit, and I just started crying. It was like it was mental. It's
relief,
so mental.
though. The relief after the whole thing, and it's been built up and built up. It's just. Yeah. It's just it's never ending otherwise, suddenly go, okay, it's happened, and
I went into my normal sort of coping mechanism of making a joke, and when I came round, I said, you should have stuck with me when I was passed out.
That's true, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never thought about that. Hello, a big hello to Inky, because it's her birthday on Saturday, and I should have said hello a little bit early. I think it's a big birthday. Search KDK DJ on YouTube, and I think there'll be a big birthday party on Saturday. I'm sure
that's
there'll be
Kurt's thing, isn't it? In Ireland.
Kurt's KDK DJs. In Ireland will be a big thing on Saturday, all in aid of Inky the Cat and her birthday party. So please check that out. And hello also Dr. Vimto. Thanks ever so much for dropping in. It's still it's all the old schooler here, which is fantastic. Dr. Vimpo making prick jokes around.
Could be Piro's. Oh, God.
That's me thinking, I'll just chuck that on screen. It's all good.
I'd take that over an injection any day.
It's like... How do you feel about the 3rd? How do you feel about January coming up? What are you thinking?
Well, I've done it now.
Yeah.
I've done it. I mean, the thing is, so today was the first day I've gone into that situation rationally.
Mm.
And it's the first day I've experienced it, and it's like I don't care about anxiety, I don't care about panic attacks, I don't care about the pain, I still care about needles, I don't care about passing out. So it's like I've got this thing now, and I'm gonna deal with it like I deal with everything else, because now it's been brought down to that level. It's been brought down to a sort of manageable level. I get through every day. I deal with what I have to deal with every day, and this is no different. Now I'm saying this now, of course.
Well, the thing is, you don't get to do it a lot to get used to it. Do you know what I mean? It's a big deal. It doesn't happen often. This is actually one situation where you probably have a blood test close together, where you never normally would do, and it's actually quite a good thing, because you'll get another go to see how well you deal with it, and you may feel, you may pass out, you may not, whatever, but you can get through it now.
But, the good thing is about this is intravenously, intravenous injections are the worst one for me. And before I just have a rabid fear of needles that I couldn't even look at them. So, now the dentist going into gums is going to be such an easier thing. I mean, I tried to book in next week with her, but she said I need 2 appointments to do it. So that was
she needs some time out, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I was like, can I come in next week and do this one, and then when this one's healed, do this one until it works. So now I've got to try and sort of, the next time I go in there, I've got to sort of now I know my process and what's going to happen. I can try some mindfulness exercises. I can maybe do some meditation in the morning, and just really try and center myself before it. But
totally, that's great. It's so good, so good. And you're right. It's good to come afterwards and go, right, I did it, or I didn't. Whatever, I tried, couldn't make it work. I'm going to have to try again. It doesn't matter. The point is that you really pushed it, and how brilliant that you really, you did it. You absolutely did it.
I feel on top of the world, I really do, and I just can't just say enough to anybody out there that's kind of holding back on trying to do something. Just put it in the back of your mind and let it percolate. Don't force yourself. It's what I've done. Ever since I know I've had the pain, the pain with the teeth that's been becoming unbearable. It's been in the back of my mind percolating. It's taken me 6 months to be able to go and do this, and I've been slowly, just whenever I've got the mental capacity to deal with it, or when it props up, it comes up again, and I'm like, I'm not scared by it, because I've been thinking about this for 3 months. I've been slowly working at it, And I think, any goals you've got, especially when in uncomfortable situations, or when it comes to depression or mental health, just slowly think, well, this is what I need to do. I've got all the time in the world to do it, and just get comfortable, and just start putting yourself into those uncomfortable situations, but in your own time, I think. And I think that's what I've learned from this. And I was watching a podcast with Joe Rogan and David Goggins. Anybody that is struggling with motivation, or trying to get yourself exercising and stuff, listen to a podcast with David Goggins and Joe Rogan, his most recent one. I won't spoil it for you, but that guy is an absolute motivation, and he says putting yourself in painful places teaches you about yourself, and putting yourself in hard situations, that's when you learn the life lessons. And he one of his theories is he wants to become the best person he can. So he does ultra marathons. He'll run 100 miles, and he says, I will earn 3 years worth of painful situations and hard work on myself in that 100 miles, instead of doing it bit by bit. Now he's an extreme example, and going to the levels he goes to are mental, but that sort of mindset and thinking about that really helped me get there, because I was like, it's going to be a painful situation. I'm not going to die. I may be embarrassed, but I think I've learned a lot about myself today, and I think I've learned enough to sort of try and pass that on to you guys out there. So,
100%. Yeah, everyone's pain is different. Everyone's need to overcome stuff is different, and there are various levels. It counts for all sorts of things. That's just amazing. It's just so good that you've done that. It was just, it makes for a good New Year's resolution. It doesn't matter how long it takes for you to actually get to do the thing that you're trying to do. But these baby steps, this little step forward, and to remember just how good Ollie feels today.
Yeah.
From doing that, that rewards, that whole thing when we were talking about it 2 or 3 weeks back about, what you get from being an athlete and breaking through the wall and getting the endorphin buzz, or being on stage and getting the endorphins going. This is an endorphin driven thing. This is a reward for getting, for feeling good, which is fantastic.
But, often I've always seen the phrase baby steps as being, it sort of sets me up in my mind of thinking baby steps is going to take forever. Baby steps, baby steps. But, today was another baby step for me. But it was a massive step. But each baby step you make, each time you make one, it doubles in size.
Yeah, totally.
So then, your baby steps become leaps.
Yeah.
And,
and 100%. I've always used baby steps where if I've been doing kind of music or kind of clever IT related stuff, and you have a client or someone you're working with who just wants it all, let's make a video. Yeah, what should we make? Well, I've seen Star Wars, that's got some good effects. Can we do one like that? It's like, no, but baby steps, do you know what I mean? And it's about managing expectations. And here you're managing your own expectations.
Exactly.
You're not going to give up heroin, completely recover and be doing ultra marathons this time next week. But what you could be doing is just tailoring down the heroin or talking to someone about it, going and getting a little bit of help. And that baby step is probably the biggest step that you'll take on the road to recovery, because it's the first one. Do you know what I mean?
It's the first one, yeah, it's the first one. It's the most important one. And then everything that follows after it just doubles and doubles and doubles. I mean, I am Maniac said about a good New Year's resolution. Now, I hate New Year's resolutions. I think they're the most farcical thing ever, because to only make one resolution a year that's important and everybody does, you're just setting yourself up for failure, because you're not doing it for the right reasons. I believe you should really make a resolution every day, and you should look at yourself every day and say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to quit smoking on the 1st of January and I'm never going to smoke again. Nobody ever does it. Do you know what I mean? Every day, I'm going to cut down a little bit more. I'm going to sort of do this.
I did a Sunday stream at the beginning of January last year where I just got people who were watching to come on the stream and give us I didn't even say New Year's resolutions. I said, what do you hope to achieve this year?
Yeah.
And we'll watch it again next year. I don't even really want to bring it up again, because I was meant to do a bunch of stuff that I haven't done. No. Pretty much everyone on there had these, I wouldn't say crazy ideas, but I mean, it just shows this year has been a lack of achievement all around, and the point is, it's not bad. It's just the over expectation, as you say, of doing this is the day I'm going to make a difference, and then by February it's gone. Do you know what I mean?
It's really, so coming up with outlandish things to achieve is really self-destructive, I think, because you've got to have some want to do it. And it's all good and well, sort of, having a laugh. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do. It's going to be the best year ever. But I'm just such a day by day person. I've had to learn, financially and doing the work I do, that I do need to plan, a month, a week, or maybe 2 months ahead. With Jen's job, of course, we've started planning this now, and it's going to come to fruition at the end of January. So it's forcing me to sort of plan ahead, but I'm day by day. And I got the text message from the NHS yesterday saying your appointment's at this time tomorrow. And it was at that point, that was the only time I allowed myself to actually say the appointment's tomorrow.
Yes,
and then I had 24 hours to sort of I had 24 hours to sort of realise it's happening. And then I got a call from them this morning to remind me to go. I don't know why I never miss an appointment, but I don't know, maybe because of my
they always do that. No, I don't think you're special. I think they just
I'm very special.
Oh yeah, sorry, no one else gets that at all. So you're on the special list.
It was this more. So last night, I knew it was happening, and I wasn't thinking about the injection. What I was doing, I was like, okay, well, I've got this happening. I can fit. I've got to do these 3 mixers. I've got to get that mixer ready for them. I've got to do this mixer. I'm gonna have fun with this one I've just bought that I want to get working, and I've got to start planning this other build. I've got to get ready for next week and deal with some customers. Blah blah blah. And so I kind of worked out my day with everything but the injection. But I knew it was there, and I didn't let myself, because before I'd wind myself up, before like a week in advance, I'd just be going, "Oh, the injection's 7 days away."
Yeah.
And then at lunchtime, 7.5 days away to the injection, and then 6 days, and every day I'd just be building myself up until I was in like a whole fit of I just worked myself up so badly for like a whole week. And then when I was there, it was just the crescendo was gonna be a failure. The crescendo was going to be not happening because I've been fucking bullying myself about fucking it up for a whole week. So I'm kind of like the day by day thing really works, but just kind of realizing it's going to happen at this point. But don't start thinking about it until you're there. And we got on the bus and we went there, we walked in the surgery, and then there was some woman complaining at the desk, which I found hilarious. So I was like earwigging on the complaint at the desk to distract myself. And then we walked down the hallway to go into the appointment. And then with every step, it was like, okay, let's get the business mind on now. You know what I mean? So I got myself there without winding myself up. I got in there without winding myself up, and then when it was time, I started preparing for the death walk, and it was like, and I think this time I really healthily managed it. And from talking on this show, I think I'm starting to understand myself a lot better, because I basically got an hour just to theorize things. And,
totally. No, and seriously, it's a massive deal. I mean, I'd forgotten. Again, minor in comparison. I'd forgotten how much stage fright I used to get when I was playing. Like, this is way back with like Boy George and all those guys, and they were quite big gigs.
Quite big gigs. I'd say they were fucking massive.
They're massive. They were huge. Yeah, and not stadiums, but full Astoria full or whatever. That kind of thing. And I used to get terrible stage fright, but only a couple of hours before, and that would be it. But it used to be terrible, so I'd be throwing up and I'd be pacing around, and then you'd go on stage and everything would be absolutely fine, and you'd realise how wonderful it was, and it would all go too quick, and then you'd be off again, which was kind of dealable with, because I didn't know, that it was. I knew what to expect, and it was like, okay, I've done it now. I know what I'm going to go through. And I don't know, when I did the on a much lower level, the Sonic State one that's just gone round, I was terrible until I told myself, it's like, there's nothing you can do. You're just going to get up there, do your thing. I think it's because you are totally in control of what happens. So, if something breaks, or if you forget something, or if it's a disaster or whatever, that's completely down to you. And I guess what I was going to say was because the blood thing is out of your control, does that make it easier to cope with, or less, or harder to cope with? Because literally you just have to turn up and go through it. I'm not belittling that, but in terms of performing in front of a massive crowd, in terms of stage fright or being worried about that, is it kind of a completely different feeling? Are they completely unrelated? Is it almost?
It's like, so when I was quitting heroin, I came up with a theory that if I don't rob banks because I don't want to go to prison,
right?
I don't murder people because I don't want to kill people.
Mm-hmm.
And robbing banks, to be fair, there's nothing that wrong with going to prison. It's not that bad, really.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Up to death, or sort of being in agony. But you don't do it because you don't want to go to prison. And if you can say to yourself, well, I'm not robbing banks because I don't want to go to prison, why can't I put that gravity onto something else?
Yes.
So I feel that you can make anything as important or as less important as you want, as long as you're sort of trying to do it. So I mean, it probably sounds really stupid, this train of thought, but it allowed me to it's how I rationalise things.
No, I think that makes complete sense. You've mentioned that before, and also your phobia of needles stopped you injecting drugs, and I'm sure that's a large psychological part going on in your head as well. You're not going to work hard to overcome that hatred of needles, or injections rather, under those circumstances, because it's a nice positive buffer against kind of killing yourself, basically. Do you know what I mean? Taking it to the nth degree. You took everything else to the nth degree. I'm just interested about the psychological things behind it. The other thing carry on.
So I think fears are based around not knowing. So I mean, when I get a little bit philosophical, I think why are we scared of death? But in essence, because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Apart from dying, why are children scared of the dark? Because you can't see what's there.
Yes. Yeah.
So kind of not understanding what's going to happen is the base of all fears, in my opinion. It definitely is with me. So attempting to understand that is massive, and then attempting to understand yourself and what you're scared of about something, and where your fear comes from. What don't I understand? With a needle.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I know what's gonna happen here. Why am I scared? And when you start to break it down a little bit, you can say, okay, well, it is an irrational fear, and it's an irrational fear, and a phobia is an irrational fear.
Yeah.
But being scared of heights, it's not an irrational fear, but it is.
No, flies or something might be irrational.
Yeah.
Though, do you know what I mean? Bugs and stuff, maybe. I mean,
But,
it's weird, isn't it? Because kids watching Luna May grow up, they're not scared of anything because you put them in an environment where they're kept totally safe, and it's only when they hurt themselves they start to become afraid, which is a good thing. You've got to let them become afraid of stuff that hurts them, otherwise they'll hurt themselves all the time.
Well, a baby when it's born doesn't have any concept of a hard surface.
No, indeed.
They don't. I mean, how they've just come out of a womb. You know what I mean? They don't. How can they perceive what a wall is?
Yeah,
how can they
absolutely.
What
and kids thrive on this fearless, I'll jump off that,
until they do, and it hurts.
And it hurts, exactly. yeah. Nothing's ever gone wrong yet. Oops. But yeah, it was interesting when I was thinking about your phobia. I didn't know my dad from the age of 8 or 9. I didn't really know that much from him at all. And then I found out that we shared similar phobias in the broader sense when I got to know him much later in his life. So he was afraid of hospitals. I don't think I knew that. What I'm trying to get to is whether that influenced me or was genetic, I suppose. He had a terrible disease of some kind, like a blood disease, a blood poisoning thing when he was young, and he lost the hearing in one of his ear, and he spent a long time in hospital, and that supposedly led to this fear of hospitals, which I never knew about. And I had an absolute fear. I wouldn't go into hospitals, which I kind of finally overcome when my daughter was born, because we spent quite a lot of time in hospitals, and I had to. I was there, and I thought, actually, it's not so bad here. I reckon I can do this, And I had this real fear of kind of taking a wrong turning in a hospital, turning corner, and there'd be a guy with his arm hanging off and blood spurting everywhere, or some hideous diseased ward that you're not allowed in, and I'd end up, catching leprosy or something. Really irrational, but I couldn't go in. And a couple of other things which aren't phobias, but like he doesn't like flickering candles, and I have the same kind of effect. I don't like flickering lights and stuff because of migraines. But and it made me think I didn't know at all, or maybe when I was super young, just the way he acted or talked rubbed off on me.
Yeah, well, of course, and
brought this on.
Yeah, well, that's how children learn. I think before language, don't they? They pick up on what. How the parents are acting around certain things. I mean, my dad's scared of needles, and my dad didn't like dentists, and I heard that, but that I don't think I would have been, or maybe I would have been a little bit more uncomfortable with that.
Yeah,
my stepdad's the funniest one. He was scared of needles, but he used to just go and have the dental work done without the numbing,
without any painkillers.
Yeah. He just go. I was like, "What?"
Oh,
and he was
my.
like, "Yeah. I just prefer the pain over." It's
amazing.
When I say that, you think of my stepdad being this big, burly, hard bloke, but he's not. He's a very sort of withdrawn, very successful businessman. That if you met him, you'd be like, "There's no way." But yeah, he used to go in at no injections, and it would. This came up because it was after the traumatic thing when I had the injections. We spoke about how if you're scared of injections, I just go in there and get it done, and I just close my eyes and get it done. And your brain is a very powerful thing, and you've been able to go into hospital after that fear, but it was big enough. To like, you had to go in there because your daughter. Imagine if you could have applied that to some sort of menial. I got an ingrowing toenail. That is the most important thing in my life now. I have to come over this fit. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and there's no reason why anybody out there that is struggling with anything can't find some way to make it very fucking important.
Yes. Yeah, I mean that just took over really, you know, because we didn't. Yeah, exactly. It was quite a big deal. We were there for quite a while, but I do remember walking down the corridor, and there was about 4 delivery rooms, and the door opened in one of them, and this kid who must have been about 19 just came rushing out, going, "Where's outside?" And I was like, "There's a door down there." And it was just like something that you'd obviously seen that just completely set him off. But yeah, it was horrendous. Yeah, absolutely horrendous. But yeah, I'm fine now. And that's all good. But I'm sure it does rub off. Dr. Vimto, hang on, what was that? Dr. Vimto was saying human body is an antenna with multiple sensors and tries to connect that way so it can feel relaxed for when something happens, be it dark or death or other. Yeah, I do. I think the whatever drugs and endorphins float around the body, they do seem to make you cope with stuff, if you see what I mean.
Definitely.
In terms of your inbuilt painkiller. Oh, Dr. Vimto, this is what I was looking for. Ollie, your dad's fear ingrained into you from a young age without you realising till later in life. I think that's true for me. It certainly makes it an option, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, the traumatic experience at the dentist, you know, probably didn't help.
Aids it, yeah, absolutely. Future World Machine says instead of making New Year resolutions, have a look at what you've achieved in the last year.
Yeah, exactly. That is 100%. That and his profile pictures a set of decks. I like Future World. I got a lot of time for you, Future World Machine. But it's true though, isn't it? Because you know you kind of have to build on your successes from last year, and you know I really struggle with the time, like we decided at this point the world's done a rotation, that's a year, restart, shut up, stop it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, look, I mean, do you can agree with some random person, and I've looked into this, there is no actual reason why the world reset happens at that point. For us, it's winter. In Australia,
it's a random mark.
It's a random marker that says that's a year, and the amount of gravity that we put on that as human beings. It's a restart. It's a new start. It's like every day is a new start. It's like I post on social media if you follow me there. You know, every day's a Monday. Do you know what I mean? And Monday's the start of the week, and it's the best day because that's when all your opportunities happen. That's when you kick yourself into gear. And I'm like, well, fuck Monday coming every 7 days. Every day's a Monday.
Every day's a Monday.
Every day, and Monday's a brilliant place, and everybody hates Mondays, but you shouldn't. You should fucking love them because it's the start of everything, and you can look at Sunday again and go, right, time to do one better.
Strangely, Sundays can be the worst day. I mean, only because it always harks back to the got to go back to school on a Monday. That Sunday night. There's always the worst stuff on the radio or the telly. Yeah. It's all horrible. Every day is like Sunday's like Morrissey track, isn't it? Smith. It's like, terrible. Actually, Piero, Sinclair Mark, was one of the people that came on the Sunday show and told us what he was going to do this year, and he actually. He did what he said. He said it would all be about Climbfest. He was going to write off the year, and it did come true. So I'm kind of speaking for myself when I'm talking about not really achieving anything that I decided I wanted. I did achieve some stuff, but
I
not
think
the
you've
things I
achieved
really
loads
intended.
Of things, haven't you?
I don't want to knock myself down. It's just not what I wrote down on my list, you know. Just
what was on your list, Dom?
I was going to do a lot more plugins because that's kind of my bread and butter. So selling, you know, developing and selling music plugins, VSTs, reverbs, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which I've done very little of. But what I have done is a lot more of the streaming kind of stuff. I've got involved with Soma and Synthstrom, and you know, it's been a very positive experience. I'm in a good space compared to what I was doing. I'm doing stuff last year. I mean, because I sort of stopped working for a little bit, and that you can kind of go a little bit mad. You know what I mean? Or you can just kind of like just sit around and go, you know. I mean, it's a luxurious position to be in, but you do have to do stuff, otherwise.
Who wants to stop doing things?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like everybody's like, I want to retire early. It's like, why?
So many people die soon after they retire, and it's
there was somebody that lived up by my mum and my stepdad, and it's a really sad story because he spent 5 years building this sort of man cave garage, and it was perfect. It was amazing. He'd done everything, and the first day he retired, he had a heart attack.
Oh no.
Do you know what I mean? And it was just, I remember that story, and it's been so prevalent in my life. Do you know what I mean? He did all of that to retire, and it was like, he just wait. Do you know? I never knew the person, so I'm only sort of theorising how he'd set himself up for that mentally. But you know, he sort of like beavered away 5 years, looking forward to that retirement day. You know what I mean? That's all he thought about. You know, what did he miss in those 5 years looking forward to it? I mean, you've got to have goals and you've got to have things to set up. I don't think it could be the be all and end all. And I don't think.
Yeah, there's that twilight time when you're at the end of your work career. I'm not at that age, but there's that 5 or 6 years. Do you know what I mean? Where you're like, well, I've just got to wait 5 or 6 years and I can retire. Do you know what I mean? And that must be so soul destroying and kind of sets you up in such a bad way to continue. I mean, thankfully, my stepdad and my mum have been retired a long time, and you know they've had ups and downs, but you know health wise, but they're good. They're good. They're really good. But so many people I know particularly it seems the ones who've got a real focus on it. You know, I am going to retire and whatever it might be, spend more time in the garden, go on a cruise, do the man cave stuff, and all of a sudden they just become ill. And they were probably that ill before, but the focus on work and the daily stuff was keeping things in check. I don't know, but it just seems we had the amazing geography. I hate geography, but we had a geography teacher at school. It's the first time I ever noticed it happening. And he always seemed quite elderly, but he was probably got to 65. Amazing plans for retirement, and he was dead within the 7 months.
When I worked in construction for a bit of time, when I needed to find a way to earn good money fast and without having to climb any sort of corporate ladder. So I got into construction when I was about 33. So I was in my prime as a male adult. And I was there on site, and there were 65-year-old blokes that should have been retired in the winter running fucking rings around me. Right, and you know, if they got a little bit like that on you, you'd be like, oh, he's a granddad, but I'm not sure I want to get into that. Do you know what I mean? And, these guys were old blokes, but they'd never stopped working. They were physical and they were out there just grinding. And and then I'd look at sort of like the 65-year-old that had retired at 50, and they're like sort of doddery a little bit, and you know what I mean, kind of. And I think there's a lot to be said for keeping yourself going and just keeping yourself active, because I don't think you're not supposed to retire as a human. You've got to do things. You've got to achieve. You've got to have goals. Like I've been on top of the world today after getting through that phobia, and
rightly so as well.
Yeah,
I mean, you should
right.
be. That's a huge achievement.
Yeah, I earned it, and this is kind of my reward patch. I'm going to leave it on for as long as I possibly can. Melissa's already taken a piss out of me for stabbing it. I'm going to keep it on for a bit.
The worst thing about that patch is it sticks to the little bit of blood. That's the bit that gets me, and I can't take it off. It's a tiny, basically there'll be a tiny little hole, and sometimes you get a tiny little bit of blood that then just sticks to the bit of cotton wool, and as you take it off you can feel it, and I literally have to thankfully I've got Lula May who's just like
the shower's going to get rid of this one in the morning.
Oh yeah,
all the
bed,
of course.
It's a pride patch, says I Am Maniac.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, I'll be showing off about this for a while.
Wow, wow! So January the 3rd is the next one, but you got that you got that sorted.
What day is January the 3rd?
I can find out. So they said, did you get an ice? Did you do anything afterwards, like get an ice cream or something?
So Melissa called it my special day. She said it's your special day. I had some other chores I was supposed to do. She was like, just work on your Vestax mixers today. Work on all the stuff you want to do. So on my special day, we popped into the charity shop, and I found an old rave record, and so I got a couple of good records. Melissa found some really nice sort of kitchenware stuff. And then we went down to Wetherspoons and had a vegetarian all-day breakfast. Nice. And then we had then we went to print something out, and it was easier just to go to Melissa's university campus to print out a postage package for a deck I need to send off tomorrow. Yeah. And I met a couple of her radiology students, which was really nice. So yeah, it was just a really good day. And then we came back here, we ate. I messed around with some mixers and did a little bit of got the decks out, and it's just been really.
It's like you were worried about, I don't know, some health test result or something, and everything's all fine, and you're all completely, and the weight is lifted, and do you know what I mean? It's just such a good thing.
It's just something I've been struggling with for so long, and it was just a fucking yes, I've done it. Do you know what I mean? And like, the body rewards you for that. And you know, when there's no chance I was going to be depressed today, even if I hadn't have got it done, even if she nearly got there, I would have still been. You know, you went there and you were one step closer. But actually, the baby step I made that was fucking massive. You know, it's been a long line of attempting to achieve.
Superb. The third, thanks Iron Maniac and Ricardo's Music. Ricardo's Music is about to buy some decks from you as well, he said earlier, which is exciting. So you're cornering the world.
Oh, okay, yeah. Ricardo Music, get on to me.
Yeah, brilliant. It's a Tuesday, so you'll be able to pop on the Unsigned Review live in the evening and explain to everyone what a good day it's been.
Well, I don't know. I kind of wanted to do this again straight after. But maybe
that's fine. We can do that.
Yeah, maybe.
You go afterwards.
Maybe I can talk Mark into doing it on a Wednesday, so we can have the Tuesday.
That would be great.
I think I could.
Or we can do it combined. He could drop us in for a thing.
Yeah, because I don't know. It's so good that I'd managed to talk about this now, straight after.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the longer you go, the less the sort of more.
Yeah, it becomes a bit more normalised, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And people have started getting bored with me going on about injections.
No. It's a massive deal.
Maybe the day after, I'll try and talk Mark into it, I think.
Okay, that would be cool. What's coming up this week for you? We've done over an hour actually, which is incredible. I mean, it's so nice to just chat about stuff, to be honest. And I hope everyone in the chat's enjoyed it as well. It's obviously we've got lots of nice interaction and some great faces in the chat. So thank you. Do spread the word, share the stream and all that kind of stuff. Be very grateful. We're still kind of getting our stream together really, but it's going well, which is nice. What have you got coming up now? Now the big deal is over. More decks.
Let me think. Yeah, so
Christmas is coming. Obviously, maybe the next one we can do about Christmas or something. I think.
I think the next
try and get everyone through.
Yeah, definitely. And I was thinking maybe that if everybody's up for it, we could maybe do like a sort of, I don't know, maybe a stream or like a private sort of Zoom meeting or something with everybody, just to maybe help any lonely souls that are out there that want a bit of company for an hour Christmas Day. That would be quite interesting.
Would be an ace idea. Maybe the way to do it is to set up a little private Facebook group.
Yeah.
And then anyone can do that, and we'll just publish the Zoom thing.
Have a little chat, and just having a little anti-Christmas day where we can all just catch up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just try and remember you're not lonely out there, and there's no reason to be sad. There's a load of people that care, and I care about everybody that's in this chat and everybody that watches.
Totally.
I'd love to like come and spend an hour with you Christmas Day maybe at some point if we can.
That would be ace. Yeah. What a great idea. Well up for doing that New Year's Eve as well. If anyone wants to try and keep out the action on there, because I always have a quiet one as well.
Yeah, same here.
It's always a difficult one for addiction issues and all that kind of stuff. So we can do the same. That's brilliant. We'll get that sorted this week. So either we'll set up a little group or a little messaging group or something.
I mean, people get in touch if you're up for it. Get in touch, like message Dom, and then we could just get everybody in that group and we can work it out together.
Totally.
But yeah, Christmas stream next week, isn't it? So yeah.
Oh, there's one proviso. I Maniacs, as long as you promise not to get the deck scratching.
Well, how dare you? What do you mean? That's all I do with them.
I think just the Bee Gees.
Just the Bee Gees. Oh man, I've got a worse one.
Oh no! Surely there's none worse.
There's a worse one. Don't worry.
Culture of Ghosts, playing to be on your own but happy. Well, good. And if you want to not be on your own briefly for a Zoom meeting, it still counts as being on your own because it's obviously virtual. Then you'll be very, very welcome to join. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
Lots of people saying so. Cool. Thanks everybody. You've been utterly wonderful. And we will be here same time next week. It'll be a Wednesday.
It'll be the day before.
Be the day before. We'll be here yesterday next week.
We'll be 6 days.
6 days time.
6 days time. Count down everyone.
Got one Monday between us and then. Cool. All right. Well, let me just find the outro music while I cover for myself because I wasn't set up for this at all. Nearly there. How funny. Here we go. Thank you, everybody. Same time on previous day next week, and we'll see you all soon. Take it easy. Bye for now.
herbalist connect so with the herb pipe. Link up the harmonized, left the termite. But beyond obsolete blessings, a birthright. To live a life which a lot warm in a side worldwide. Cosmic love energy, I go herbicide free, organically, me say worthwhile. Watch the way one of you change term points in terms of definitions and some termites. Yes, I check the eye. One side is defined by one side the other. I.e. I am an ideas man. I assign too much of the qualities of my child. Who's free up talking like there's two of me? One is a construct, one is a creativity. The supreme one, all encompassing information in and of itself, most definitely. Another life infinitely, most life infinitely. Beyond the scripture, niceness can be. Blessed be. I continually must pick up a being that's the infinity.